Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a terrific day ahead of you. Today's EYN will be a really good one, and it's one I'm looking forward to. The reason there was no video on Sunday for transfer plans is I've been under the weather for about the past 2 weeks, just over, and I just wasn't feeling up to it. But I'm back and feeling much better. And like I said, today's EYN will be a very good one because I'm going to look at the free hit, and that too in some depth. So we're going to go into other subjects, whether you should be playing it at all. Same with the triple captain, other opportunities for that. I'll take a look at the wildcard, a draft which I really like, and a couple of other things as well. So there's a lot, even if there's not too many sections today. It's all kind of integrated together. Really looking forward to this one. I hope you enjoy. If you do, at any point, a like, a hype, subscribe will be much appreciated. Let's get into it. Before any of those things, though, I'll take a quick Gameweek review to start us with, because there was no transfer plans. Naturally, when you bring in a player and you captain him, the expectation is that he doesn't get 0 points, but freak accident happens in training. Something happen. No worries. I'm sure it's working out for the best. The armband ended up falling to Salah, and he deserved more than the 2 points he got from the game. But so be it, right? I'm still happy enough with the decision. I mean, the big chance against Manchester City, the disallowed goal against Manchester City, and a couple other moments there. Quite a few moments against Forest. It really just seems like luck's not going his way and Liverpool's way. And maybe that was something to consider when betting against, but it's done now, and at least the performances have been okay. The rest of the attack, I mean, Salah had one pretty decent chance. Could have done better. He also looked to have been fouled on the edge of the box, like on the actual edge of the box, which would have given a penalty to Mateta and potentially an assist for him. So on another day, again, could have returned. It's now 5 blanks in a row for him. And it's coming. That return is coming. So I'm happy enough to hold him until AFCON. Mateta had that big chance and maybe would have had a penalty as well. And then hooked just before the 60th minute. But that's understandable because Glasner did say that he picked up a bit of a knock during the midweek and Nketiah was back, so didn't mind that. João Pedro, again, I don't have too many complaints about this because I kind of knew that this was going to be a tough game for him. Pleasantly surprised that he got rested in the Champions League against Barcelona. Just means that it's more likely he starts that Leeds away game in Gameweek 14, which is a big deal. Saka could have returned more. But honestly, considering I didn't stick the vice-captain armband on him and how highly captained he was in the engaged field, I'm all right with it. And Bowen, first ever player in FPL history to get DEFCON as a forward. In terms of goal and assist, that very minimal. I would have expected more, but to walk away with a 4-pointer and the highest of my attackers, I'll take it. And then Josh King comes on for a 3-pointer. Would have preferred more, but so be it. But the reason it was not only a respectable game week, but actually a very good one with about a 1.5 million game week rank / good one and 53 points is the defense. And again, big at the back, especially since my game week 8 wildcard has done wonders for me. Not so much big at the back in terms of how many I'm playing or the investment there, but just the fact that they're performing like they are big at the back. Sanchez 6-pointer was on 8 until those bonus point recalculations, so quite close to another very good haul. Well, it's not really a haul for him, but a very good score. Senesi 3-pointer, I never wanted to start him. There was not one bit of me that wanted to start him. The idea was initially to replace Gabriel with Van Dijk and have him there, but that would have resulted in the same points, and I wouldn't have got Cunha either, who I wanted. So considering that I thought West Ham were going to score, to get an assist from it, pretty lucky. Could have had more in that second half in terms of attacking returns, but this wasn't to be. Anderson felt decent about it, and DEFCON plus 2 bonus, wonderful. Love him as a pick. Couple better out there for sure, a few better out there, but at 4.5, exceptional value. When you think of Marco Silva, how good he is at coaching a defensive unit, when you consider the players they have, when you consider how hard it is to go to Fulham at times, he's going to pick up points. The floor's so high because of DEFCON, and he will get these 10-ish, 9-ish, 8-ish, 11-ish pointers resultant of those clean sheets. And a goal will come. And the superstar in defense, the one that I made some sacrifices for on my Game Week 8 wildcard, he gets me that goal. He gets me that 14-pointer. I mean, he got me 2 assists and DEFCON against Bournemouth. He got me a goal and a clean sheet against Wolves. He's got me multiple clean sheets in between then. So yeah, he's just been a revelation. And he's still quite a big differential and probably will continue to be so. So I'm at least for a few weeks. So I'm very, very, very happy with him, and he'll just play every single game week. So yeah, that's a wrap up of the team. We're getting there, right? Like, if you think about it, when we finished game week 7, which was only 5 game weeks ago, I was like 7.2-ish million. Now we're at 3.6 million. So we're getting there brick by brick by brick. This week, naturally, with triple captains and free hits and Haalands flying about, it may be a bit challenging, but we'll see, and we'll discuss that more in the team selection. But for now, I'm happy with it. We're getting there. There's progress. I will put this in the title for this free hit section, but this will be the main section for the video, because not only am I going to talk about maybe the best free hit 11, but I'll talk about the wider player pool, as well as running through many of the fixtures to essentially explain the picks. Before that, however, I'm going to get onto the strategy, because I think if you look at the community on X or on YouTube, so many going down the path of free hit, and it's very understandable for reasons we will come on to. I would just like to present the counter argument, which I don't think is quite been covered in enough depth. Firstly and foremost, this is a season like no other. We've never seen anything like it. The teams, in terms of their quality, are so close, and the difference in approaches now compared to times gone by, so for example, prioritizing this athleticism and physicality in transitions, has resulted in you not seeing these super big scores, these 7-0s against 9-0s against Southampton on a repeated basis. Rather, the gap in qualities is smaller, right? Which is why it's so hard to call the season, and why when you look at the league table, it is so congested, pretty much from top to bottom, Wolves aside, relatively speaking, right? Now, on a free hit, and on a week like this, what people are looking to do is essentially like, okay, Brentford have Burnley at home, City have Leeds at home, and Liverpool, to an extent, have West Ham away. And Villa have Wolves at home. I'm going to stack, right? I'm going to stack Brentford, stack City, stack Liverpool, stack Villa. The issue with this, in this season, more than any other, is that your risk is exponentially higher, right? For every team that you stack, because it's so much harder to call the games this season. Traditionally, maybe 3-4 seasons gone by, you want to bet against promoted teams? Sound. Very, very sound idea. But Burnley, Leeds, and West Ham, at different points in the season, not so much throughout, but at different points of the season, have all shown themselves to be at least somewhat difficult to beat, and by no means a rollover. Hence, again, why the league table is so congested. So to stack them just doesn't fill me with as much confidence as it usually would. And I'm not saying this is a reason to not do it. I just think it's something to consider, and that this risk is being rather underappreciated. The second thing is the rainy day theory. You've all heard that you save some money for a rainy day. And when it comes to the free hit, given we're coming up to the congested period, who knows? Maybe you get 2-3 injuries midweek. You're short for transfers for whatever reason. Like, let's say you get it to 18, you've already used your 5. Or you don't want to use that many and you want to save them down the line. Having this and having this safety net, knowing you can play aggressively in many, many other spots down the line, because you've always got this bailout, is a super underrated strategy as well, I think, on the assumption that you're not too high on the expected points for this week, or maybe the risk is too high for you. So again, that's something to consider. Like I said, I will come on to the positives in a second, but this is just something to consider. And then thirdly, your stack really, especially on the free hits drafts I'm seeing, it's going to consist of what? Double or triple Villa, and probably double/triple, most likely Brentford. Do you trust them that much? Personally, I don't. If I was going to free hit, which I'm going to speak about, I wouldn't have as much coverage from Brentford or Villa, for other reasons as well that I'll come on to, as maybe others would with a triple and a double up or 2 triple ups. I'm also a little bit concerned about Brentford's matchup against Burnley. When I watch Burnley, I really don't think they're that bad. I really don't think they're that bad. And if Scott Parker's going to go there and not play with too much ego, which he's shown himself capable of doing, good on him. With Brentford's front three, Shada, Atara, Thiago, this is very much like, okay, we're going to kill you in transition. You give us space. We like playing against big teams. We'll hurt you. Think about the Newcastle game. Think about the Liverpool game, right? Whereas this type of game, where it's like more focus on block breaking dynamics, I'm sure they're as well suited. Someone may quote the West Ham game and say, okay, but look what they did to them. That wasn't really like a set deep blow. That was just an awful, awful footballing performance, right? And then Villa, I'd just be a little bit concerned, because obviously Rob Edwards didn't have too much time with the whole group of the players. Now he's also had a game against a Palace side. I'd expect him to be a little bit better at least. And with Rodgers, sometimes last season we saw that the ceiling, it wasn't so consistent. Well, at least those big hauls weren't so consistent, right? Like, he's more one return and a bit of bonus as opposed to that huge haul. So to be betting on that and be taking out really good players, right? Like, a lot of people, and I know I've got them there, but a lot of people taking out Mateta and Sarr and Bruno Fernandes and maybe an Arsenal defender, maybe a Saka, maybe a João Pedro, maybe a Senesi away to Sunderland. You're losing some really good players as well. So the alternatives that you're going for, are they better? Yes. I'll come on to one caveat with that. Yes, they are. But how much better? Not hugely, in my opinion. Because the guys that you have, most of them are in a decent run of form as well. Even if the fixture's a little bit more suboptimal, are just a bet against them. So that's that. And then lastly, of all the things you probably want at that free hit, the guy up top who's worth 14.9 million is the one you maybe want the most. And all of you, maybe aside from the ones who were influenced by me, own him. And you're probably going to captain him as well. So your biggest acquisition on the free hit is already covered for in a non-free hit team. And then I look at this player pool, right? A lot of you will also, and forget Mateta and Saar for a second, I'll come on to them. A lot of you probably have like maybe, or you've got a route into Thiago at least, right? Your defense is probably pretty decent. I don't love the defenses from Brentford or Villa because I'm not super convinced that they get DEFCON. And I'm not so high on their attacking threat this game week either. So I think that's something to consider. And yeah, that's probably pretty much everything that I have to say on the counter. Not so much the counter argument for playing it this week, just appreciating the risks associated with it. Because I don't think they've come up enough. So that's that. Okay, now let's get on to the actual players and talking about why I think this is a good free hit week, because I do, and just their prospects in general. Look, at the end of the day, Brentford at home to Burnley, City at home to Leeds, Villa at home to Wolves, and Liverpool, they've been attacking well enough. They've just been very unlucky, in my opinion, and their finishing's been poor. That's good, right? There's a lot of upside there. And if you wanted to get out of Palace before their game, because obviously they've got Europe midweek, then they've got United at 12, not even 2, but 12, I'd understand it, right? I'd get it. And maybe you have a few issues elsewhere. Maybe you really just don't want Saka for Chelsea away. You don't want your Arsenal defender in Timber for Chelsea away. Okay, I'd understand it. Like I said, I don't think it's too bad, but there's obviously a lot of upside with the players on screen. What I did is I wanted to kind of cover my whole player pool. Hence why there's 15 actual players on the squad with a bunch of names below. And I will first speak about those who I'm really, really looking to prioritize on free hit. Haaland goes without saying. Foden, and Foden. He's been so unlucky not to return. And I think the only reason it hasn't been spoken about more is because no one pretty much owns him. But if he was a super popular pick amongst content creators, and given the level of performance, they stuck with him, you'd see complaint after complaint after complaint after complaint, thousands in the community, because he has been really, really good. But the returns have just evaded him. He's got such a high ceiling with this level of performance. The fact he's probably going to get good expected minutes again. He'd be in there for me. No questions asked. I can understand wanting to go Doku or Chucky, but neither of them have a higher ceiling than Foden, in my opinion. When this guy gets going, this is hat-trick territory. So I would have him. I would have Mo because he's been unfortunate not to return such haul against City and similar against Forest. Obviously, it's not going his way at the moment, nor Liverpool's. On a free hit, when you can afford it, given the other player price points, I think it's very, very difficult to argue going against. He's always got that high ceiling, and having a player like that just to hit you with a haul and cover a lot of the damage maybe some of the other guys can do. So Foden, Haaland, Salah is basically what I'd build around. Moving on to defense, I really don't like that many of the options. I don't ever look at Brentford's defense and feel super secure that they're going to keep a clean sheet. I think they're always a little bit susceptible to getting hurt. I think Burnley have some decent attacking power as well to hurt them in that fashion. So if it was me, I'd probably not picking one. Even Nathan Collins, who could get DEFCON, but it's not the best game to get DEFCON, and could get an attacking return from a set piece, but it's not the best game to do that. I wouldn't be picking him personally, but I'd get it. I quite like the option of going maybe for a Gvardiol, because if you get a corner on the right-hand side, Foden takes, at least you can get the pair of him and Gvardiol, goal and assist. And is he going to get DEFCON? Probably not, but more so for the upside of the goal. I wouldn't mind it when you can also get the upside of the assist, and then the clean sheet potential that comes with it. So Foden, Haaland, Gvardiol, I think the Forest boys are so underrated. We were so excited about them at the start of the season. And now what we've got is, I think, what we expected at the start of the season. Fairly defensive system. Both of these guys have been good at DEFCON. Murillo got 19 against Liverpool. Milenkovic has hit it in back-to-back games. Murillo scored against Liverpool. Milenkovic is a massive box threat. 5 goals, 2 assists last season for a centre-back is no joke. No joke at all. And I don't look at the fixtures and think yeah, wow, there's such an obvious clean sheet. Even Villa Wolves, I wouldn't be surprised if Villa made a mistake. They've got that in them, and Wolves have got enough quality to get a goal in them as well, right? So I would probably go Gvardiol, Foden, Haaland, at least one Forest defender, at least. And then from there, I quite like going Senesi this week. I still think that, like, as well as Sunderland are doing, you can't get too carried away, right? Can't get too carried away. Fulham did put in a more than good enough performance to beat them on Saturday. It wasn't the most amazing performance, but I thought they were better than them. And you know, Senesi, he's got DEFCON in his back pocket always as the floor raiser. He's got a good leap on him. He's good in the opposition's box. So as a high floor, high ceiling asset in general, and for this game, I'd say medium for both. Picking him, I'd say, is absolutely fine. You can go Munoz for that attacking threat, coupled with some DEFCON. Maybe one Villa. So, for example, Pau Torres, if you think he could get some DEFCON, not a bad idea. Maybe you go for Martinez in goal, right? But I don't look at it and think there are so many amazing options. But that's probably what I'm picking from overall. One Villa defender, maybe a Senesi, one or two Forest. I'd probably be inclined to go maybe double on my own free hit if I were to do so, and then Munoz. And I wouldn't look past that too much. And yeah, I really just think the Brentford defense is a bit overrated on the free hit, to be honest with you. So that's that. Now let's cover some of the other guys. And since we're on Brentford, may as well go there in terms of attack. They can score goals in the game. They absolutely can. I still think, though, that like their dynamics are more suited to other type of games. And I don't think Burnley are that bad. I probably wouldn't want to commit with a double up. I don't even mind going Sharda over Thiago for this game, just because Sharda showed himself in the past to be a bit of a whipping boy and have a huge ceiling in these type of games. I remember a brace he scored. I remember a hat-trick he scored. So I wouldn't mind that if you wanted to go there. He'll also be trying to avoid yellow cards, so he doesn't get closer and closer to that suspension. So, yeah, but if you wanted to go Thiago as well, very, very safe, at least by expected points. I just wouldn't want to go double there. I don't trust him enough against Burnley. And that too, even in isolation. Then the last guys to speak about on screen, Rodgers, yeah, I like it. Just be a little bit concerned of him actually hitting a ceiling. And the new manager bounce under Rob Edwards, maybe a game delay due to the IB. And I wouldn't be surprised. So something to consider. They've obviously got Thursday football as well. And then the Palace boys, I think is so underrated this week, right? United coming, I mean, we all thought it was going to get, not all, right? I was one of them, though. I thought it was going to get a bit better for United. I thought they'd beat Spurs, right? And then they'd put Everton away. They didn't either. And they had to get a last-minute goal against Spurs as well. And then they obviously played the whole game pretty much against 10 men, and they didn't really lay a glove. So away at Palace, with Sarr's Hall potential, and even Mateta's Hall potential as well, and both of their ceilings with the number of chances Palace create for them as a duo in one game, this is very, very safe and underrated. I'd like to have one myself. And then in terms of the other guys who aren't pictured on screen but are listed, Gvardiol spoken about, Docky spoken about, Semenyo away at Sunderland if he's fit, and you're okay with slightly reduced expected minutes. I don't mind it due to the ceiling. Probably wouldn't, but don't mind it. Bruno is just the ever reliable. If he gets DEFCON, then obviously that's good for your base, but he'll always have to be in with a chance of it. Penalties, pieces. If he gets a return, he's so good on bonus. A Hall's coming for him. Cash, I discussed with the Villa defense. I would pick Torres for the DEFCON, though. I'd pick Powell. Watkins, if there was ever a game to get him going again, it would probably be this one or the Brighton game coming up for Villa. I probably just wouldn't chance it, though, given there's good enough options elsewhere. I've got Liverpool scoring at least a couple against West Ham. I think the performances warrant it. I think the matchup warrants it as well. But if they continue to finish poorly and get unlucky, if you want to factor that in and make that your reason to go against them, I think honestly that's perfectly fair. But like I said, I really like Salah. I wouldn't mind a Gakpo out on the left as well. Bowen, you may be surprised, but with how Liverpool are defending and how consistent Jarrod Bowen is from season to season, he's lagging a little bit behind in terms of output. So I think a goal's coming for him pretty soon. Saka, similar to Bowen, lagging a little bit behind in terms of output. These type of players in particular like to catch up. Very good player. I think both teams will score. I don't have us losing, to be honest, but I can see him getting a return. So if you really wanted as a floor raiser, because obviously he's got that route from set piece as well, don't mind it. Like I said, I think we're going to score against Arsenal. Enzo's box crashing / JP the giant slayer in these big games. I can see a return there as well. But obviously, the higher ceiling options are the other guys. And yeah, that's just kind of a run through of the main player base for the free hit. Long section, 15 minutes, my longest one ever, I think, in one go. But I hope that helped. Most of the things to be said about free hit 13 were covered in the last slide, but there's a few more things to go, including its relationship with the triple captain this game week and beyond. Now, if you are in the blessed position of having the triple captain, the free hit, and the wildcard, personally, good on you. I have not accounted for that in this scenario because I imagine a very, 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 very small number of people are. And if you are and you want that covered, I can very well do so in SYP. Another thing is you could probably piece it together because I'm also gonna come on to some wildcard discussion, or you could just leave a comment below and I will get to that. But if you are in the more typical position of holding the free hit and the triple captain, what is the better one to play this week? When would you play the other one? Should you play either this week? And so on. This, for me, is an extremely, and I mean extremely, extremely subjective subject. Because it really depends on a few things. One, your evaluation of your current Gameweek 13 team's prospects. Not the free hit team, but the current one you've got now with the transfers you'd make / wouldn't make. Secondly, your evaluation of Haaland at home to Leeds. Like, how well do you think he's going to do this game week? And then second and thirdly, your evaluation of future free hit and triple captain opportunities. You need to know which opportunities you have in the first place, know which ones you like, find the best one, and then evaluate that against this. Right? And that will be so different for many, many people because other triple captaincy options include, but are not limited to, Salah in 13 away at West Ham, which is this week. I honestly don't mind it. At home to Sunderland in 14 and away to Leeds in 15. Bruno and Cunha in game week 14 at home to West Ham, 15 away to Wolves, 16 at home to Bournemouth, which stylistically I think could be quite nice. Maybe, well, and Bournemouth's not going to be there, but certainly for the team as a whole. And in 19 again at home to Wolves. Haaland at home to Sunderland in game week 15, and then another opportunity in game week 17, and then Saka at home to Wolves in game week 16. It's really annoyed me that I've remembered every single one off by heart, apart from the one Haaland one. Maybe that's a sign I should do it in 17. I think it's a promoted side, but I can't say for sure. It can't be. I don't know who it is, right? But in 17 is a decent enough fixture whereby I would put it on. And there are other opportunities, like there's a Semenyo opportunity at one point. Maybe you want to go Palmer at some point with his ceiling. Maybe you even want to chuck it on Foden this week because he has got hat-trick potential. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it at all. Right? However, you can see that there are so many things. I haven't even spoken about the other free hit opportunities. Albeit I am a big fan of the rainy day strategy, just saving it for whenever it's probably best for your team down the line if you don't have any issues this week and going from there. So like you can see, there are many, 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 many different variables to consider. If I had to, right, and I'm trying to put myself in your shoes here because obviously my team is very different. I don't hold the free hit. I still have the bench boost. And my team for a bench boost might actually be pretty decent this week. If I was in your shoes, what I would say is if you are comfortable enough captaining on Haaland at home to Leeds, which I imagine many, many, many of you are, and you don't care about one having Foden, and if you really do, I guess you can bring him in anyway. And you share a similar view to me that stacking Villa and Brentford isn't really like the most optimal thing, and you don't really want Salah as well. Forget Foden for a second, because if you really want him, you just get him. But mainly Salah plus not stacking Villa and Brentford. If you're okay with that, then absolutely triple captain Haaland this week. And if I was in, I guess, more of a template position, albeit the template is a lot more scattered this season, I'd probably triple captain Erling in your position. Now, I have spoken about how I wanted to triple captain a mid. I'm probably going to stick to that, especially when I bypass what I thought was the best opportunity that you're going to get from Haaland at home to Burnley that week. So I will probably use it on a mid. Salah or Bruno, I don't think I'm going to go anywhere outside of that, personally speaking. Maybe Cunha. But in your position, yeah, I'm probably playing the triple captain just because I don't like a few things about the free hit, and I'm just saving it for a rainy day. And I'm more than okay with that. If we rock up to Game Week 19 and nothing really looked that attractive, or my team didn't look so bad in the week, I'll just use it 19. I'll take the upside that I'm inevitably going to get from it there. Now, in terms of how it performs, that's another thing, but you'd expect it to do better, right? So yeah, that's that. If I had to choose, I'd play the triple captain. I think it's a little bit underrated in comparison to the free hit this week. But I'd understand the other way around. And if you play the free hit this week, you have all those opportunities that I've listed at the bottom of the screen in the future. from one chip to another to another. Let me start by saying, when it comes to this chip, I really, really like this team. Before I was building it, I was like, oh, it's going to be a little bit difficult. The draft's probably not going to be too interesting, blah, blah, blah. But when I was building it and I concluded, I was like, wow, this is something. I think this is an amazing, amazing, amazing wildcard team. Irrespective of how it turns out, I think the potential it has is enormous. The ratings agree with me, 96 and 95%. I would really consider this team. All right. And if I were to swap Milenkovic out for Lacroix, which you would like, my rating would go up to a 96% Gameweek rating. Okay. Oh, I've pressed the wrong button here. And I will return to my enthusiasm for the team. Okay. Why is this happening? Okay, let me just swap these guys. Swap. Nope. Still not working. Okay, I'm not going to do this again. Like, I'm just going to... You can just assume... Hold on. I'll give it one more go. It worked. Okay, good. This is the lineup, right? And then defense, the bench would be Sanchez, Anderson, Lacroix, King. Obviously very heavy, but for this game, you can understand why in a second. There is something to be said, though, right? There's nothing in the bank for me. However, unlike you, I don't earn Erling Haaland. So I'll have to pay extra 0.3, 0.4 for him. If you were to have that money, plus a little bit extra in the bank, and you didn't fancy having 5 defenders that were not from the promoted side, so cheaper, you could drop Anderson to a 4, and maybe with the extra 1 that you have, you can go Lacroix to, or Senesi, whichever one you please, with this draft, to Van Dijk, if you would like, right? You could even maybe, if you find a way, stretch to a Urian Timber, and you know what? If not, there's always William Saliba there for you, right? At 6, if you can find 0.5 from the value in Haaland that you have, and maybe a couple other spots. This team is seriously good. One thing I've done with this is I've purposely picked players and I've purposely picked a squad that is very likely to survive the congested period, especially nowadays. They have a lot of athleticism, physicality, given it so transition focused, such a huge load on the bodies, not to mention the scheduling as well, such a huge load on the bodies. You want players that can deal with it, and you want players that are just likely going to start game in, game out, and not get injured as well, right? So that's what you have here. What you can see is, and I'm very brief, because I've done a lot of player talk right in the free hit, I'm very briefly going to run through it. Okay, Munoz, I mean, I've spoken about him so much since I bought him. Goals, assists, positioning, platforming, clean sheets, good team, high floor, high ceiling, DEFCON. What more do you want, right? Unbelievable asset, one of the best in the game. Senesi, for me, when you take someone who is the best DEFCON defender in the game, and as such, basically give him a 3-point floor every game, knowing that they have attacking returns in them, he's just so good. I wouldn't want to pass him up at 5. He's just such a headache not to own. Because to beat him, you're going to have to do so well over a long period of time. Sunderland away, play him. Everton at home, play him. United away, I'm not going to play him that week, I don't think, but okay. Burnley at home in 17, play him. Brentford away in 18, play him. We're not playing him against Chelsea because you don't play him against the best team in the world. But you get the point. You can get a lot of utility out of him. I spoke about Milenkovic earlier. 5 goals, 2 assists last season. Huge box threat. You've got that. DEFCON, in a more defensive dice side, you've got that. Quality in that Forest side, and they're only going to get better when some of their injured players come back. You've got that. Fixture run, Brighton at home, Wolves away, Everton away, Spurs at home, Fulham away, City at home, Everton at home. I think that's more than good enough, right? And it could be a set and forget, and only at 5.2 million. Lacroix is basically Munoz, but better on DEFCON and less attacking threat, albeit still got some from set pieces, and only 5. And the reason I went Anderson here, right, is I really like the guy as an option. I see him as a mini Senesi, but with Marcus Silva's approach and the plays that they have, they'll find clean sheets in games you maybe don't expect them. And if you ever need coverage, that's who you're not paying too much, you're only paying 0.5 extra than you would or 0.4 than you would on Mukulele, for example, you're getting a lot of value, right? It's a wonderful safety net to have. And as we've seen so many times this season, playing a back 4 is actually more advantageous. So that's that. Haaland, I'm not discussing, super obvious. Mateta, I've seen some wildcard drafts without him. For me, even with the reduced expected minutes, for whatever reason, high floor, high ceiling, I'll take it, right? Knowing that what I'm going to get. If you wanted to go elsewhere, I still say an amazing forward is João Pedro. He's cheaper as well. Like, you'll save 0.6 and you can reinvest that however you please. But an amazing forward is João Pedro, right? He's got basically 2 returns for every 3 games in like the last 2 seasons when you look at the number of starts. Giant Slayer for Arsenal. I like it. Leeds away, more likely to start now, given he was benched against Barca. I like the Bournemouth away fixture for most attacks. And then Everton at home's cool. So I don't mind Villa at home in 18 or Bournemouth at home in 19. I don't like the Newcastle one, but whatever. He's the type to actually return there. So I'm very comfortable with him at 7.5. I think he could do very well. And then Thiago, I mean, you needed a bit of a cheaper forward for the structure and the price. And Burnley at home in 13, Leeds at home in 16, then Wolves away, then Bournemouth home. Okay, yeah, you have Arsenal away in 14. I still think he could score there. He could score 15 Spurs away on penalties, in form. You take it, right? And what I said is that I really wanted a squad that could survive the congested period, but I still, in a season where these big hauls aren't coming, I want the midfielders who are most likely to hit those big hauls. Now, you may not see that as conducive with the Elliot Anderson pick, but super high floor with Defcon, maybe on penalties, maybe when Chris Wood's not there, set pieces, and some open play threat are under Deitch as well. Good fixtures, 5.3. You play him when you want. If not, you switch into a back 4. At 5.3, phenomenal value for me. And then these 3. This absolute powerhouse midfielder. Saka, high-ish ceiling, just not as high as I'd say Foden or Bruno, given when they haul, they can haul really big. Bruno away at Leicester last year, for example. Foden and his hat-tricks. I know Saka's had an 18 and 16-pointer in the last season. It's just, usually it's more like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 with him. But he's still got that in him. Penalties with Saka, penalties with Bruno, set pieces with Foden, and both with Saka and Bruno. Very good players in general, just a lot of talent to produce returns. Good enough fixtures. Flexibility, if you ever wanted to move into someone else, you can easily downgrade given how expensive they are. Cole Palmer's not exactly a very far stretch away. I just love having these 3. And I think this team is phenomenal. Like, I think it's really, really good. I've built wildcard drafts in the past for you guys and been like, whatever. This I really like, right? And like I said, there's a few iterations you can do. Obviously, you don't like one player, it'll affect the whole draft, but you get the vibe. I don't think you need to go for like a Rodgers due to the ceiling. I'd understand. And you know what? If Liverpool click for their run and Salah's gone, like I said, you can just sell Saka at some point, or Bruno. I wouldn't sell him. I'll probably sell Saka and move into like an Isak if he comes good. Right. And I'm going to quickly run through the team for the rest of the week. This is the worst week, Game Week 14, but you still get Leeds away for Sanchez. Oh, that was the last pick to speak about. We're playing well at the moment. He's full of confidence. Overconfidence? Yeah, probably a little. I don't really like going into the media and saying what he said. I don't think he needs to say it. I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden we've gone a little bit of a decline. I could see that happening. But as far as performances go, we're playing well. We look defensively more secure than maybe we've ever done under Maresca. The fixtures after Arsenal, I'm very comfortable with from that standpoint. Some save potential in there as well. Cheap. I like it. 14, Leeds away, double defense at Burnley away, and a defender at Wolves away. So I'm taking like 3 of the best fixtures you can have. Even Everton at home for Senesi, I don't mind. Bruno, West Ham at home, Anderson, Wolves away, and I'm not going to keep reading them. You can see them on the screen. Even Mateta, but. And then Haaland, Foden, if you're going to have a duo, which I'm not really too keen on this season due to the fact that teams aren't scoring like huge number of goals every single game, and you can't really rely on them as such, I would have these 2 given their explosive ceilings and high floors. And you'll see that Saka goes to the bench. I think he'll get benched this game week, hence why he's here. And even if Anderson had to play, let's say 3-point floor with Defcon, all right, whatever, it's not too bad. So that's that. And that's the worst it gets. Game Week 15, it gets better. I mean, you can just see on screen like the amount of attacking talent you have here to get hauls, to get big hauls. You've got so much depth in Anderson and the other centre-back if need be. Then Anderson comes into the side for Burnley away in 16, and you're topped up with 5 frees. There's so much, and you know what? At this point, you want to drop Foden. Okay, for whatever reason, you want to get out of Haaland. Okay, like there's so much you can do. Same with Mateta. There's so much you can do here. There's such a high floor for this team each and every week because you've got the cover in defense and you've got so many good expected minutes players with high floors. It just looks phenomenally good to me. And you can just keep going on and on and on. So yeah, that is what I would build. Maybe exactly that. Yeah. If you wanted to go Anderson and Lacroix to like Van Dijk and let's say Esteve as an example, I'd get it. I think I'd just opt for a little bit more depth. Albeit I think Van Dijk's haul probably comes at some point. Lastly, I've seen some discussion on players who have 4 yellow cards and therefore are 1 away from suspension. And just a quick thing on how much you may want to care about it. And it's actually a little bit less, I think, than it's usually made out to be. 4 defenders of note: Munoz, big deal. Senesi, big deal. Collins, not as much. And Neco Williams, only a big deal, more so because it would affect Murillo and Milenkovic for a game. And in the mid, Szoboszlai and Xhaka, probably pretty big deals. Unless you pick a Collins, right? And you want him for Gameweek 16. That's your sole idea, aside from 13, to really have him from 16 and beyond. And you know he's going to miss one of the games. Well, then I could understand not going there because he probably gets yellow. Well, not probably, but decent chance he gets yellow in the next 3. He'll miss one of the games in the crucial period you need him and just go elsewhere, right? Because if you're not going to have a player for a game that you think is crucial and you decide in that week is significantly worse, okay, go elsewhere. But he's an example of an asset that's not exactly like this great asset. He's good. He's just not great. Munoz, on the other hand, he's great. He's a monster. Senesi, he could be a really good asset to hold. Same with Szoboszlai and same with Xhaka. So for those guys, if they have 4 yellows, so be it. I think they're good enough whereby if they miss a game, they miss a game. No problem. But for the lesser assets in terms of quality, those are the guys that I would be more open to avoiding. But it wasn't just to show you the players who are close to 4 yellow cards. It was more so just to explain my perspective on not dodging Munoz or Szoboszlai, Xhaka, Senesi if you really want them, just because they're on 4 yellows. That is all she wrote for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I really enjoyed that one. I think it's in alignment with the fact that I'm feeling better as well, but I really did enjoy that one. A lot to ponder for myself in the upcoming team selections, so that'll also be very interesting. But in the meantime, I hope you have a terrific day. Enjoy yourself.